Right, you glorious humans. We have 5 days until the full moon, alright? I just want to get a bit ahead of the game and remind you, probably should have rubbed the pseudocreme off my head before I started this, but just want to remind you that the full moon makes us feel a little fuller, alright? And if we're full of joy, we're going to feel even more full of joy. And if we're full of, I don't know, sadness, anger, anxiety and whatever, it's going to greatly exaggerate those things, okay? Now remember, this is simply because the moon controls all the water on the planet, all right? It's not your fault you're like 70% water. Not my fault either, all right? It just is what it is. But when the moon is starting to get to its fullest, especially those few days before it, and it's full next Wednesday, like I said, that's when the water in you starts to get pulled out, all right? And you might feel like, I don't know, things are a little too much. Things tend to feel a little bit end of the worldy around the full moon, okay? And if you, depending on where you are in your cycle, I am now bleeding at the full moon, so you can imagine what that's like being due on and on the run up to the full moon. It can feel a little bit too much, it can feel a little bit heavy, but you just need to simply remind yourself that, not saying it's not real, because everything you're going through is real, but the great exaggeration of feeling and the feeling that, you know, it's never going to end and like it's all too much, that is certainly going to pass, all right? It is just the moon causing you to feel like that. Now, some things you can do. Firstly, just maybe I'll do my hair. But you can just remind yourself that, you know, these are just feelings that are being exaggerated by a outside source, all right? You can't do anything about that, okay? And so you shouldn't be beating yourself up about it. And you should be just trying to be mindful of trying to stay in a more positive space, simply because, like I said, whatever place you're going to be in is going to be more exaggerated. You can do things like journal, all right? I find around this time, the full moon tends to bring everything to the surface, which is really nice, because you're giving an opportunity to just like let stuff go. But how do we let that go without, you know, like punching it out or something? We find a positive outlet, right? So I like to write. I will write loads of stuff out, all my feelings. I'll just write it out and then I'll set fire to it or rip it up and just let it go. Writing tends to just move the energy out of you into a space that can handle it, like a piece of paper, right? And then water, obviously, like this is about your water being pulled. I think it's good to drink a lot of water around the full moon, all right, just to keep your emotions like fresh. Yeah, keep it flowing, keep it flowing. Remember, emotion is just energy in motion, all right? And I don't know, around the full moon, we can kind of start to feel stagnant, and you don't want to get stuck in that, oh my God, my life is so bad, especially when everything is just being exaggerated, all right? You want to keep things flowing, keep it moving. Just remind yourself, it's just the moon. Anyway, you gorgeous people, I hope this has helped you. Please just bear this in mind, all right? This honestly isn't the best time, especially if you're suffering with your mental health, but we will get through this. This will pass, and just remember it's on Wednesday, all right? Have a glorious weekend.